Well, when I sat down last week to compose this paper, I had to ask Frances how long it had been since she was diagnosed. She replied instantly, as it's ingrained on her psyche, 2011, 10 years ago, at the age of 19. How she's grown mentally since her diagnosis is heartwarming to see. Thank God for your facility at Queen Charlotte's Hospital and all the staff that look after our girls and ladies, and to a certain degree the parents and partners too, as this has given me a platform to air my misgivings or problems, and many years later pass on some advice to others. Without you guys, I dread to think where we would be now. I found it really hard to support Frances in the beginning. Her first full year of diagnosis was horrendous. Her mid to late teens were taken up by the notion that she would marry young and have a family young. All she could see was becoming a mum. I added fuel to the fire by bigging up pregnancy. I was one of the lucky ones who flew through 2 pregnancies with very little trouble. So when she was diagnosed alone in a hospital bed, it was the very last thing we were expecting. She found it extremely hard, as you would expect, to get her head around what had been told to her. Her brother was angry with the world. This had happened to his dear baby sister. And Frances's dad, my husband, even now doesn't fully understand what she's going through, and at times can be a little insensitive in what he says and needs reminding of her condition. So march forward 10 years. How have I learnt to support my brave and courageous daughter who can't have babies naturally? It's been a very steep learning curve. I've learnt not to ask too many questions. Keep an eye on her mood is an indication of her mental health, as she's been in some dark places in the past. Although this can be difficult, as she hides a lot of what's going on inside. For instance, when my first baby granddaughter was baptised 4 years ago, I was playing the doting grandma and directing all family members to sit near the font. I hadn't spared a thought for Frances, who was screaming inside and almost walked out of the church. She told me this years later. So when our grandson was baptised earlier this year, I took a back seat, inasmuch as the most important person in the church was not George, my grandson, who had parents and godparents to dote over him. I took the decision to sit further back with Frances. Her needs outweighed little George's at that precise moment. This, I feel, made it a pleasant experience for her, and possibly, I hope, relieved much of the stress she may have felt. Just to be there for her if she needs a hug. This counts for a lot. If she doesn't want to talk, just be there. But if she does want to talk, give her all the time she needs. And be a good listener. Don't butt in. This is all made a little easier for me, as Frances still lives at home. But she's planning to study at university next autumn and become a mature student. This will make support a bit trickier, but still doable. This will be all new for me, and I'll have to go back to the drawing board to learn the best ways to support her at a distance. But I guess if she knows she can talk to me about anything, then as long as I'm available at the end of a phone, nothing's impossible. So really what I'm saying is just be there for your daughters, partners, nieces, aunts, whatever the relationship. Just love them for who they are. Thank you.